Love them or hate them, Apple has pushed out a plethora of high quality, very desirable phones, tablets, and laptops over the past couple years. The biggest gripe though, the biggest criticism I and many others have is the pricing, especially nowadays. Like the flagship that I'm holding right here, the iPhone 11 Pro Max, cost me $1,300 for a 256 gig variant, which is just insane. And while I am a tech reviewer and it is warranted for someone like me to own a device like this, not everybody should own one for several reasons. I mean, you got bills to pay and it might not be, economical or necessary. Maybe you don't need the highest end tech in your pocket right now. And this is what got me thinking, and instead of preparing a video that I had initially had planned, I decided to do some research on some budget-oriented devices from Apple, and I put together a 3-device setup, a laptop, a phone, and a tablet that comes in just around the cost of an average flagship nowadays, $1,000 USD. And this is not my original idea. I owe a lot of credit to a fellow creator, Luke Miani, who did a similar video with a $500 budget, so shout out to him. I don't think he knows who I am, but if you happen to be watching this, Luke, I love your content, and let me know if you want to collaborate anytime soon. But anyway, let's get into this video. I have once again chosen 3 devices, and I want to get into why I chose each one, for what they are and what they're priced. And before we get into this video, I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like on this video, comment if you have any questions, suggestions, or opinions, as the algorithm likes that, and will help push this content to more people. So welcome to part 1 of entering the Apple ecosystem for just around $1,000 USD. As y'all know, I very much value your opinion, which is why I do these polls all the time. And it seems like 88% of you so far are on board with this budget-oriented video. So thank you for your feedback as always. And if you don't already do this, I really do encourage you to participate in the polls. You do really shape the content that I post on this channel, because after all, it's you guys who get my videos off the ground to begin with. So first up, friends, let's start with the laptop. I had initially thought of going with a MacBook Air 2015 model. This is going for a very nice $400 price tag. And the laptop that I was looking at here looks to be in really great condition. It's not bent up, it's not scuffed up, just regular wear and tear. But the more I thought about it, the specs are just not gonna be that great as of this year, because mainly this device has 4 gigabytes of RAM, which is something I'm not a big fan of, especially for doing schoolwork or really any everyday work. Having an additional 4 gigs or 8 gigs in total really does make a difference. And also the screen on this device is sort of outdated. I believe it's like 1400 by 900 or something sub 1080p, which is okay, but still not the best. Although I do love the keyboard and I do love the overall lightness. And if the MacBook Air is something you are looking for, say you're more of a document writer, you're doing a lot of web-based work and you want a MacBook, then this is totally a great option. But I have to keep in mind, a bunch of other users who might want to do other things too. And that's why I decided to go with a mid-2014 MacBook Pro 13-inch. Number one, because I already own one, but that's not the reason why I wanted to go with this. The MacBook Pro is just a more desirable, more well-rounded laptop. It has more Thunderbolt ports on it. It has an HDMI port on it. It's still a great laptop design, even, 5 years later. And I really do enjoy mine and still use mine to record audio for a lot of my videos. But still, if I had to use this laptop for school, it would be absolutely acceptable. And I found this model going for $439 with free shipping on eBay. So this is a really great device. You get 256 gigabytes of storage, an Intel Core i5 dual-core processor. So it's not going to be the most powerful device, but macOS is really, really well optimized, and it should run really, really well on this MacBook. And like I said, I own it, I would know that, and mine still is holding up very nicely today. The battery might be a little bit degraded, so you are going to get lesser battery life than that of a newer MacBook Pro, but still, you get MagSafe 2, you get a really decent design, you get a great keyboard, better than that of the butterfly switches on the new 13-inch MacBook Pros. You get Thunderbolt 2, USB Type-A, an SD card slot. It's still an excellent laptop and can handle some light video editing and photo editing and really any, everyday schoolwork too. As for the phone, I was kind of conflicted. I wanted to go with an iPhone 10. Because, it's kind of like this newer design. This is the first phone that introduced gesture-based, navigation, and it looks newer. It resembles the newer phones, but it was kind of, encroaching on the budget. I didn't want to sacrifice, laptop performance or quality just because I wanted a full screen display. And also the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus have the same processor inside and similar camera performance. So that's why I ended up going with the iPhone 8 Plus, not the 8, because you know, the bigger display is nice. It's 1080p on the 8 Plus. You also get dual cameras, which will give you the portrait mode. And I saw this one going for $320, and this is just a deal I cannot pass up, especially for the condition that this phone is in. I saw a lot of other phones with some major scuffs, but this one looks like it's been through some, you know, normal wear and tear. Of course, it's not going to be perfect if you're buying it for this price, but still, it looks pretty decent. It has a battery integrity of 87%. And like, yeah, I'm all down for it. It looks really decent. And once again, it has the A11 processor on the inside, which is still a very powerful processor. Apple Silicon ages really, really well. It should perform very nicely up against the newer phones. Even once again, the display on here is massive, 5.5 inches. It's pretty much the XS Max or the 11 Pro Max minus the top and bottom bezels. It has stereo speakers too. It has dual cameras. It has great video. It introduced 4K 60. I mean, this phone is still a really nice device, and it goes for, you know, a pretty decent amount new. This is the lowest tier iPhone Apple sells new, so it's still a very relevant device in 2020. And yeah, that is the reason why I want to purchase it. And then last up, we have here the iPad 6th generation. I thought about going with the iPad Pro 10.5, but that was too expensive. But I thought about this. This is pretty much the iPad 10.2 in a last generation, you know, iPad Air design. It has a decent display, although it does have an air gap. It has the A10 Fusion processor, which we've gone over in my previous reviews. It's decent enough to do some gaming, some everyday usage. This can also work with the Apple Pencil, which is a big plus. We also have decent speakers, and I mean, for $195, you really can't pass this up for 32 gigabytes, considering that its bigger brother or newer, you know, younger brother, I guess, the iPad 10.2 inch goes for $329 new, and it's just basically a bigger or a slightly bigger device. So this is great for everyday usage, some gaming, and this is really the entry-level iPad, and it makes sense. If you're entering the Apple ecosystem, you're gonna want an entry-level iPad, and if you like it enough, and if you save enough money for the future, then you can upgrade to an iPad Pro later on. But I would say this is a great device to play it safe with if you want to see if you actually like iPad. And also, you know, you could save some money, buy an Apple Watch, buy some AirPods, although you cannot buy them on Swappa here. And I kind of get that. They're kind of nasty. Who would want to buy someone's used earbuds? So adding up the cost of all these devices without tax, $439 plus $320 plus, what does this iPad cost? $195. We come to a subtotal of $954 USD, and that leaves us some room to make up for taxes. So in my state of Michigan, we have a 6% sales tax, so we'll do $954 times 1.06. And that brings us to a total of just over $1,000. So like I said, plus or minus $1,000, depending on what state you live in. If you have a 4% sales tax, it'll be just under $1,000. If you have a 6%, as we see here, it's gonna be just over $1,000. Not a big deal, but yeah, just around $1,000 for these devices. Once again, we have a really decent laptop that I can tell you is a great value even to this day. We have a great smartphone that is still being offered new from Apple. It has a great display, great camera, great battery life. And then we have, you know, the best entry-level iPad I think you can buy right now. It's basically the new 7th gen iPad without the display, and for the price, it's just a steal in my opinion. So I'm gonna go ahead and buy these used products that we discussed, a used 6th generation iPad, a used iPhone 8 Plus, and of course, technically the used MacBook Pro. And although I own it myself, I very much stand by that option in this budget configuration. And just to clarify, to not cause any confusion, I'm considering buying this product red iPhone 8 Plus here because I love the color, and I'm gonna be covering this phone in future videos too. So this is just an aesthetic decision on my part. Color should not play a role if you are on a strict budget, but this is just me wanting this phone because I think it's pretty. I'm willing to spend $20 extra, which will bring the subtotal up to just under $1,000 without tax. So I guess it's technically still within the $1,000 threshold, but still, this is just an aesthetic choice on my part. But once again, if I personally was on a strict budget, I would buy whatever's cheapest and highest quality for the least amount of money possible. Oh, and I just realized that the iPad 6th gen that I was looking at sold as I was shooting this video, so I'm going to go with another listing packaging that's for $5 more and is a different color. So that explains that difference if you are wondering. And that about wraps things up. I hope this video was different. I want to mix things up. I want to integrate more budget-oriented content into this channel. I want to go back to my roots. I started this channel reviewing the iPhone 5S, and people really did enjoy that. And yeah, I want to mix content in between new and used and budget and expensive because, you know, I don't want to end up like one of those mainstream content creators or tech YouTubers that only focus on like $5,000 monitors and things like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. I cannot wait for part 2. We're probably gonna be doing an unboxing of these used products, and maybe part 3 will be living with them and just my overall verdict of if you can comfortably live with Apple products within $1,000 budget. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm excited. I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like on this video, comment if you have any questions, suggestions, or opinions, and of course, subscribe for more content like this. Expect a OnePlus 7 Pro versus iPhone 11 Pro Max comparison soon. I promise that for today, but I do plan on doing it because OnePlus 7 Pro and of course the 11 Pro Max are still as popular as ever. I cannot wait for the S20. I cannot wait to cover more on iPad Pro and the Motorola Razr. Whenever they decide to launch that, I will buy that in a heartbeat. And yeah, as always, I'm Noah, and I will catch you all in the next one.